Lauren Culp, your publisher and CEO at CUInsight.com, and I am bringing you a 3 questions video interview today with a very special guest from CU NextGen. Joining us is Hayley Harrison, the VP of Operations at CU NextGen. I'm really excited for our conversation. There are a lot of cool things that CU NextGen is working on. Hayley, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Lauren. I appreciate you inviting me.
I am excited to talk to you today. So let's start off with some of the technology solutions that CU NextGen has. Which of those technology solutions would you say maybe best solves the need for automated processes? And do you have any examples you could share of an automation solution that you've provided to a credit union partner?
Sure. I would say the two that we kind of call affectionately the automation stack are the RPA Genie as well as the app forms, which is a low code, no code workflows form. And so both of them, I think what makes them so special is they're proprietary to us. So they are ours. We built them. And really, if you want to automate well, you really have to have both pieces and parts. So, I think automation really came on the scene a few years ago, and I think RPA was just the buzzword, right? That's definitely how I got into it. And you kind of realize there's this huge powerhouse with it, right? You can move and manipulate things over and over again. It can redo repetitive tasks. And then I think once kind of like that buzzword got out, people really started getting into that. It was like, okay, but there's a bit of a barrier, because if you ever need a connectivity to a human being, if you ever need to like rework a process, RPA sometimes wasn't enough. You kind of needed a little bit more of a help. And so that's really where this app forms software comes in. So it's kind of it's a low code platform. Like I said, it is proprietary to us, and it's entirely a workflow. So like thinking of, you asked for an example as well. I like to talk about them kind of together, the example with the software. So a card dispute is just a wonderful example, mostly because all of us in the credit union industry know the struggle that those can be internally, right? And so it's really cool to watch the RPA and the workflows there, because you can redo the workflow of your card dispute. So instead of just, I have to wait for a PDF to come through an email, or I have to wait somebody to send me an Excel file, an RPA bot's definitely going to be able to take it from there and say, hey, I got an email, I'm going to run and go move this process around, and I'm going to put this dispute into our card processor, I'm going to add it to the core, and I'm going to go, put it in the Nautilus or whatever you need, right? That's what RPA does. But what the app forms can do is literally rebuild the process to work it the way that you need it, right? So instead of, a agent having to write it out on a PDF or fill in a fillable PDF, we can actually make, the GUI, the actual interface, and redo all of that workflow. And then the RPA is obviously seamlessly connects with that on the back end and then runs all of it wherever it needs to go. Another great example of this is a change of address. It's kind of funny because, I've obviously been in banking my entire career. And I remember telling somebody back when I worked in retail, one of my friends who was not in banking, I was like, you would be shocked at how much effort it takes just to change a person's address within a financial institution. Like, it sounds like the easiest thing in the world. You just and send it. It's like one of the hardest things. And it's because there's so many disparate systems. So you have to run it in so many different places. And again, if you just have RPA, then there's a file or a worksheet or whatever, it's obviously going to pick that up and run it into all the different systems. But if you kind of have this builder, right, this powerhouse of a workflow, you get to rebuild what that thinks and looks like, and how it talks to your employees, and how it can prompt your employees to talk to the members. And, you just kind of really take hold of the whole process. So you can really look at something that you feel is a little clunky, maybe needs to be rebuilt, and really see the true power of automation, because you can touch it from start to finish no matter what with both of those software components. So I think that would be my opinion on how you fully automate and how to use a powerhouse automation package.
That is so cool to hear. I love getting sort of the inside scoop on different ways that credit unions can do this. What would you say sets CU NextGen apart from other financial technology providers?
I mean, I definitely think our first call to arms is the fact that we're a QSO. We do this for the credit unions. And I worked a lot in the automation space within banking before coming to CU NextGen. And so it's amazing to come empower the credit unions and step in here and know that you're fully there for them. And I think, you have these things in life where what are you guided by? What's your guiding light? And I think it's great for us because we get to think of everything of credit union first. what would the credit unions need? We all come from, again, I come from an FI background. Most of us come from definitely just credit union backgrounds. And so it's nice to be able to sit there and think of our software and our solutions and really how we do our business and how it's set up with the credit unions purposefully in mind. So I think that's like the very obvious one. But I would say, another from our software side, something that I think makes us much different is how the software functions. And I always say we're putting the power back in the credit union's hands. So, often whenever you get a solution or you're looking for a new vendor, the vendor will have a product and it's kind of like in a box, right? And here's the box. And then they tell you to kind of like wiggle into the box, right? So maybe your core is a little different, or maybe you have a siloed system that doesn't really work. So you kind of have to like shave, your current shape to turn into a square to fit into the box, right? I was kind of joking. I'm like, let's get the Sharpies, let's get the crayons, let's get the markers, and we're going to draw a box together. We're going to draw what it looks like for you guys to use this software, but within your credit union, where you get to keep your voice and keep what you have and still be you, right? But use the software to what you need. So again, we kind of work much more with our partners to meet them where they're at. And instead of saying, hey, here's our solution, now kind of wiggle into it where you've got to let pieces and parts of yourself go, you get to really be authentically yourself within the software.
Absolutely. Well, that definitely, I would say, sets CU NextGen apart. I also love hearing that you're a QSO, owned by credit unions, for credit unions. Really cool. Well, as we wrap up the conversation here, I'm wondering if you could share for us a recent project that maybe pushed the bounds of innovation.
Yeah, I think one that I really love is we did an automated microloan. And, I really love it because it pushed the bounds of a couple different things. So the inception of this project is actually one of my favorite stories to tell, because I got a call at 3 p.m. on a Friday. And it was one of our credit unions, and she's a great colleague of mine. And she was like, hey, I got this idea. And, I sit there and I listen to it, and it was a brand new product. They had never done it before. I had really never heard of it before. And I was like, I think we can do this, and I think that is just super exciting, to get a call at 3 and it's like, oh, okay, I'm going to bring an entire new product to market. Like, that's just crazy. I love my job for that alone. But then we got to sit down and we got to brainstorm it, and, the technology made it happen, but this credit union had this amazing idea, and all of these, people were coming together and figuring out how to make it work, and wanting it to go out to their members, and knowing that it would be a great solvent for their members and really help them out. And so that idea came around in like November, and we got it live in April. I mean, it was just like, it was insane. It was crazy to watch it from inception to then being live and running, and it's out there in the market now. So I think that's really interesting, because I think when you hear automation, you don't necessarily think, oh, you're going to create a brand new product, right? But again, with the RPA and with the no code, and we have a couple other really strong modules behind us, we can kind of make a lot of things happen. And so it's super exciting just to hear an idea that maybe nobody's thought of, and being able to pull it off in a tight time frame like that. And, just everybody coming together that made that project happen. It was such a cool teamwork experience. Everybody was so thrilled to make it go live and to watch it run. And again, for me, I think it was just a very fulfilling moment in my career to watch a credit union come up with an amazing idea that helps people, and see it come to fruition. So it was pretty exciting.
That is so cool. Well, for all of our viewers today, if you're interested in getting in touch with CU NextGen, with Hayley and her team, we will link to some contact information here in the post. Hayley, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Really excited to hear all about what's going on at CU NextGen, and look forward to hopefully maybe running into you in person again sometime soon.
Fingers crossed. Good talking with you, Lauren.
You too. Take care.
Bye.